if we start with our right foot, can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. So let's start with the right foot. And I want you to place the tennis ball underneath your toes. So your foot is off the floor. Okay, and your toes are just resting on it like so. And it's the right foot we're going to start with, okay? And then I want you to slowly roll the ball from your toes to your heel down through the centre of the foot, applying a little bit of pressure. So get it all the way to the heel, and then roll from the heel through the centre of the foot. So you go through the arch, through the ball of the foot, and return to the toes. And that's what I want you to do to start with, nice and slowly, applying a little bit of pressure. So you're not trying to squash the tennis ball to the floor, but you do want to just flatten the top of the tennis ball with that light pressure. So as you come through the sole of your foot towards your arch, you'll probably get a little bit of extra sensation, yes? Yeah. So nice and gentle to start with. So keep applying a little bit of pressure. That's really important, is to keep a little bit of pressure on that ball. Gently forwards and gently back. Okay. Right, so what I want you to do now is to drop the heel down onto the floor and have the tennis ball underneath the ball of your foot. Okay, so your heel is on the floor, the tennis ball is underneath the ball of the foot. And I just want you to lean slightly to one side in your foot, and then lean inwards, and lean out, and lean in. So you're getting sort of a rolling motion. Oh, Lynn, you're making faces, that's a good thing. So you get a rolling motion from one side to the other, yes? Does everybody understand that? Yeah. So it's your foot, although your body's moving slightly, it's your foot that leans over to one. If I exaggerate it, so you're leaning over here, can you see my foot? And then you're leaning inwards and leaning outwards. But I want you to control the movement, because I don't want to bring your ankle into this too much, just the ball of your foot. So you're rolling around the tennis ball with the ball of your foot. Oh yeah, that feels good. It's all good, it's all good. Okay, so let's release that and take the tennis ball to your heel now. And make sure that the ball of your foot is on the floor. So your toes and the ball of the foot is on the floor, and your heel is now on the tennis ball. Like so. I want like a little close-up. So when you've got your heel on the tennis ball, you should feel the top of the tennis ball just flatten off where you've got that pressure, yes? Now, just apply a little bit more and then release it. And a little bit more and then release it. So a little bit like if you were sat on a gym ball where you press your bottom in and come up, you press your bottom in and come up, yeah? That sort of sensation. So you can feel the ball pushing your heel gently back up as you start to release that pressure. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just keep gently pressing. So again, you're not trying to squash the ball flat, you're just creating a light pressure there. Okay, so we're going to do a couple more of these and then we're going to take it to the other foot. One more. And then release. Okay, let's swap feet. We're going to do that little sequence on your other foot now. And when you do this, I want you to think about whether it feels any different this side. So we started with rolling the ball down through the centre of the foot. So you start with the ball on your toes and the heels on the floor, okay, so get into that position, and then start to roll it through the centre of the foot, all the way down to the heel, and then roll it back through the centre of the foot, bringing it through the ball of the foot and to your toes. So it's going straight through the centre, so as you hit the arch, you'll get that little bit of extra sensation that we so love, don't we, in that arch area. So again, apply that little bit of pressure, always a little bit of pressure. So, does it feel any different this side? Yeah. In a good way or a bad way? Good. So keep applying that pressure. Yeah, every so often the ball may shoot off. Do its own thing. So make sure you're going right from the toes all the way to the heel. Okay. So, one more. And then you're going to place your heel onto the floor. Ball of the foot onto the tennis ball. And then do that little lean side to side. So roll the foot inwards slightly and then roll the foot outwards slightly. So you get this sort of rounding of the ball of the foot over your ball. So you might get a little bit of body movement, that's fine, but I don't want you to exaggerate it too much because I don't want too much ankle work. Okay, it is all about the feet here. So still applying that little bit of pressure. So rolling one way and rolling the other. You're not making as much facial expressions this time, Lynn. It don't hurt so much this time, that's what I was thinking. Sorry, we've got two Lyns, haven't we? Yeah. I didn't think of that. Bit confusing. So that lovely rolling, keep that pressure on. Debs and Lyns, I hope you're doing all right with this. Now, let's take it to the heel. So, ball of the foot onto the floor, sit the tennis ball underneath your heel. Then apply a little bit of pressure and then release. A little bit of pressure and release. When I say release, I don't mean release the pressure completely. Okay, you go from your normal pressure, just a little bit more, back to the normal pressure. And that should feel really lovely in the heel. You're not smiling. Yeah? Because it's working hard. Your supporting leg, okay, all the muscles in that supporting leg have now contracted to keep you balanced. Okay, so what you can do is you can support yourself on a wall, a chair, a sideboard, or come out of position and just give the leg a bit of a shake. It's because everything contracts to keep that balance. It's all good. Okay, one more, and then I'm going to change feet. Okay, so let's go back to the right foot now. Now I want you to, this is a bit tricky, because I want you to sit your big toe onto the tennis ball. Let's go this way. So what I want you to do is sit the big toe onto the tennis ball and then let the rest of your toes drop towards the floor. Does that make sense? So big toe on the tennis ball and let the rest of... Yeah, it's quite tricky because you've got to separate your big toe from the rest of your toes. So you've got your big toe on top of the tennis ball, toes are to the side, going down towards the floor. Now just lean forwards into the tennis ball and then ease yourself back. So you've got that big toe up on the tennis ball. So and lean back. So as you lean in, you're getting a lengthening down through the back of the big toe, which also radiates through the sole of your foot. This one's quite good for plantar fasciitis. If you are a sufferer of that, this is quite a good one for that. So every time you lean in, you get that little bit of stretch, yeah? You don't have to go very far to get it. It's quite subtle. You don't need to force it. Okay, one more. And, okay, so now heel on the floor and the ball of your foot on the tennis ball. So your toes are up in the air, the tennis ball is underneath the ball of your foot, and your heel is on the mat, like so. Now what I'd like you to do, keeping your foot in this position, is lift your toes up and separate them. So lift them up and stretch them. And then I want you to clamp them around the ball. Lift them, open, separate and stretch them. And clamp the best you can. And clamp around the tennis ball. Lift and stretch. And then clamp around the tennis ball. This is a particularly good one for me. I don't know about you, how that's feeling. How is it?
It's alright. like
And clamp. So you're alternating that stretch, lift, stretch and widen, and then clamp. One more. And then what I want you to do is to rub the ball vigorously. Toes, ball of the foot, arch, heel. Outside of the foot, inside of the foot. All the way around that foot. Vigorously rubbing. And try not to let the ball shoot off somewhere. As I said, trying to do this on a wooden floor or a tiled floor is impossible. So vigorous, vigorous. Make sure you don't leave out any part of your foot. And again, remember you're applying that little bit of pressure always, always. Right, okay, let's take this to the other foot. So let's put the big toe onto the tennis ball. Heel is on the floor. So big toe on the tennis ball, heel is on the floor. And let the toes drop the other side. And then once you're in position, just lean the weight forward slightly. And then gently back. Oh, I'm tighter. I can feel this more in my arch this side. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah.
I can feel it more this side without a doubt. So like I said, that's just lengthening through the sole of the foot there, through the arch. So just taking that gentle lean forwards and back. So you're easing yourself into the stretch and easing yourself back out. Easing in and easing back. Now, if you could feel that pull on the first couple, is that beginning to ease a little bit now?
Yeah.
It is for me, definitely. Good. Okay, we're going to do one more. And then, taking the ball of the foot onto the tennis ball, heel onto the floor, so the toes are off the ball and lifted. So lift them higher, lift those toes higher, open and stretch them, and then clamp around the tennis ball. And then lift and stretch, and clamp around the tennis ball. Lift and stretch. So be very aware and conscious of that difference, where you've got that lift and stretch, that free feeling, and then you crunch, collapse it all around the ball, and then open, and then collapse, and stretch, and collapse. Do you like this one?
This
So crunch, collapse, and stretch. And okay, let's do one more of these. And then we're going to rub vigorously. So every little inch of your foot, so to the toes, through the balls of the feet, get right into that arch, because that's the best bit. Then into the heel, to the outside of the foot, inside of the foot, rubbing vigorously. Oh yeah, like I said, you can put your hand on something if you feel a little bit wobbly, just to give you a bit of support, that's fine. So don't forget, you are applying that little bit of pressure, always. Okay, so a couple more rubs. Don't miss any part of that foot. Okay, now I'd like to place the ball out of the way now, so you're not going to trip over it. And then I want to start peeling and rolling through your feet. So you get a little lift of the heel coming up onto the balls of the feet, and then. Now start to bend your knees and take your weight down. So you're applying a little bit more pressure through those feet. And then start to gradually come back up. Still with that lovely peeling and rolling. And then with your right foot, I want you to point and flex. Point and flex. So stretch and open. Stretch and open. Point and flex. Point and flex. Now let's try that the other side. So a really exaggerated movement here. So you can really feel it through the ankle and into the foot. So when you flex, curl the toes right back towards you. And let's take that little walk again through the feet. That peeling and rolling. Now let's take a little lift of the heels, take it up and gently down. Now rock back into the heels very slightly. Then lift the heels up and then a little rock back, not too far. And then lift the heels up and gently back. Couple more of these. And then again, take that little walk. Peeling and rolling. Now, I'd like you now just to take a little walk around your room and think about how your feet feel.